What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Don't Make the Rules CFB show. Today's a very special day. We're joined by a man named Carter Richey. Richey, say what's up.
What is up, everybody?
Our first special guest as a show. Yeah, it was a big weekend this past weekend, and ready to dive in.
Happy to have everybody here. Was a it was it was a okay weekend. I mean, past week has just been just a downfall of events for me. Just to clarify, for last week I said all week I was gonna say I'm gonna post the episode later in the week, later in the week, later in the week, and then I came down with the flu, so we did not get to post that episode. So that's clarification there. But we're here now, and Nolan Paint's here now, and Carter Richey is here now, so we're ready to go.
Let's do it.
You can kick us off, no?
Who? All right, hey, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
All right, Georgia, Alabama, first game that I got written down here. Let's start with it. This was probably one of the most enjoyable Georgia games I've watched in a while. This was just dominance, right? Um, both teams were banged up pretty bad, so I don't want to hear any excuse from that side. But there is one injury in particular where I thought that really got him, and it was Jam Miller not playing. Daniel Hill was pretty pathetic in pass protection, to say the least. Like every Georgia guy got home, Zayden Walker, Christian Miller, CJ Allen, I mean, Quintavious Johnson, all of them seemed like they got to him. Uh, just Georgia looks great. Georgia looks like they're hitting their stride going to the playoffs. We said this for the past few weeks, besides for the Georgia Tech game. So I thought that was a great game for Georgia, and I thought it was a good thing to go into the playoffs with and get healthy is the biggest thing I'd say.
Great. Carter, you want to go or no?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think injuries were kind of key for both teams, but like you said, everybody has injuries. Everybody's dealing with that kind of stuff. And to kind of see Georgia put it together, dominate, obviously defensively, holding Alabama to only seven, and then scoring four times, and pretty much at least having control and dominance for, I'd say, pretty much at least three, arguably four quarters of that game. I think it's really interesting with Alabama. Looking at them, they've very much had a up and down season. They went on a really hot stretch, obviously, when they beat Georgia at Georgia, and then continued to take that success. Honestly, my biggest question for Alabama is do people think DeBoer's the answer? Like, do they really bought in on him? Obviously losing the SEC championship game is not to the Alabama standard. Then again, you're also going against another SEC caliber team, Georgia, that could definitely make a run. I just thought it was interesting. It's not a usual sighting for Alabama to kind of have that kind of performance in an SEC game, and I think it kind of points to DeBoer. You know, wouldn't say he's exactly Saban, obviously, but I think it'd be interesting to kind of see what everybody thinks about him.
Yeah, I think I mean, I can maybe speak for I think there's a lot of the fan base that has questions about him. I think I'm not one of the members of that fan base or a part of that portion of the fan base. I don't necessarily I don't know if I would point the finger at him for that game in particular, but I think a lot of this game that stood out to me was just the entire regression of our offense. It was almost as if teams have just figured out how to play us now. Like you saw Georgia, they said two high safeties and they blitz. Like that's kind of what we saw in the Oklahoma game as well. And I assume we're going to see it again in Norman. So we'll see if we do anything to fix it. I thought Jam Miller to me had a bigger impact. He was the loss of him was a bigger impact than I had thought, and that is just purely because of my judgment. I thought Daniel Hill would be ready. He's not ready for the pass pro, and he's not a receiving back either. And that also hurt us, especially throughout the season. We see on third down, like Ty Simpson will hit Jam Miller and Josh Quaves. I think Josh Quaves was a bigger loss than Jam was, but um, regardless, I think it's a it's a testament to why Ty Simpson has also regressed. I think he has just looked worse and worse every single week since probably I don't even know, maybe the Tennessee game. Um, so it's got to get figured out. Otherwise, you're going to lose to Oklahoma again. Um, I thought this game to me, I don't know if you feel this way, no one as a Georgia fan. I felt like this game was more of I thought Georgia could have played better than they did, honestly. And I thought that this was more of a game of just how bad Alabama played than it was really of how great Georgia played. I mean, Georgia obviously played a great game, but I thought our just our lack of everything almost on the offensive end was more concerning than anything to me. But whatever, a loss is a loss. You're in the playoffs still, so you just got to wipe this off and just keep moving forward, I guess. But it is concerning to see 2 times now you've faced the same kind of defense and you haven't been able to do really anything.
Yeah, that
That's
I'll
more
add one.
the system
Go
or
ahead, Richie.
coordinators thing. Sorry about that.
Uh,
You said system or coordinators. I think a lot of it. I think the play calling from Grubb has also been a problem. But I think in terms of system, it's the inability to run the ball here has also made teams be able to play that type of defense and blitz all the time or whatever. So I don't know. I think it leaves a very small window for error for this offense when you can't run the ball and you can't throw the deep ball either. So it's you have one way of beating a team, and if a team is taking that away, like a greatly coached team like Georgia is, it we saw it's impossible to move the ball. So and then it plays into the Georgia had just dominance of field position the whole game. I mean, they only had their longest drive was only I think like 57 yards or something like that.
yeah.
Like so, all of that kind of goes into it, and it's just plays a testament to this offense just kind of being dysfunctional at times.
Yeah, I'll add one last thing. If Alabama's offensive line obviously looked terrible and they can't run the ball, so
Yeah,
if they don't figure out anything before that Oklahoma game, they are going to lose. That Oklahoma defensive line is, I think it's the best in college football. So they're going to have to get something figured out. Obviously, they're going to get guys healthy, but still, the offensive line. People are like, "Oh, why is Ty Simpson so bad?" He's pressured on every single play.
yes,
So
yeah,
he's getting no help. So I don't think it's just a one guy problem. I think it's all the guys up front. They're gonna have to protect him better. So that's the last thing I got. Big 12.
Big
uh,
12.
sure, yeah,
Let's do it. Here I'll keep rolling here. I think this game just proved how much better Texas Tech really is than BYU. When you can pretty much handle a team twice, that'll show. BYU that just in a game where you're obviously your season's on the line. 4 turnovers is not a good recipe, as I believe as they did have 4 turnovers. I could
they
no,
did,
they did have
they
four
did
turnovers.
2 picks, 2 fumbles, yeah,
Yeah, that's it's just not a good recipe. Texas Tech looked great though, man. They seriously look like a team who can contend. Um, shout out Richie. I know he loves Jacob Rodriguez, how he thinks he should be in contention for the Heisman. Sadly, he's not.
should,
Yeah, I
Um,
know.
I think he had 13 tackles. I mean, their team looks great, honestly. Just quarter offense is playing good. They ran the ball good. I really got nothing to say. Maybe BYU is frauds, or maybe Texas Tech is just really that good. I guess we'll find out in a few weeks, but that's a great game for Tech, and Tech's getting ready for the Orange Bowl. I think that'll be good for them. Yeah, I got nothing. That was a just kind of dominating game.
you can go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with Nolan. But I think it kind of showed the Big 12. I think the Big 12 overall had a lot of teams that were consistently good this year, but Texas Tech, you could tell, was the clear favorite from that league, kind of from the jump, and very similar to kind of Oregon, very bought and paid for, but they have the money to do so. And I think it was Rodriguez in the post game, and they were talking about all the money. It's like if you have it, why wouldn't you use it? And I think that's a great point to it. I think obviously BYU, I think they're a much better team than people think. I think Texas Tech is much better at quarterback. The quarterback play is much better, with the kid being a freshman over at BYU, and then obviously 4 turnovers in a game. Not a good chance to win that. Not a good recipe.
Yeah, I think another thing with Bachmeyer is that he's just He did get hurt in that game, but he wasn't getting anything moving offensively. To me, this was literally the exact same game that we watched 5 weeks ago, whatever it was. It was
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
same. To me, it didn't look like Sataki changed really anything. They didn't come in this game trying to pass the ball anymore necessarily. I thought that they continued to try to be stubborn, running the ball a little bit. Um, and Texas Tech is the number one rush defense in the country. So I just, to me, it didn't make sense. But again, I, I don't know if it's. I think Texas Tech is a great team. I think that they deserve the number four spot in the college football playoff, and I think they actually have a chance at beating Oregon. I think Oregon might be probably a little more talented than they are, but um, I think Texas Tech is a great team. Their defense is obviously amazing. Um, we again, this is so. I feel like I'm getting deja vu again. I remember Baron Morton took another couple bad sacks in this game, and it's like I feel like I remember we talked about that like 5 weeks ago when he did that
Yeah.
like 3 times in that game and put him out of points. And again with Texas Tech, they left a lot in front of them. Like I thought this game should have been even worse than it was, but um, yeah, I mean I don't know. I guess we'll see how great they are when they play Georgia Tech in the Pop Tarts Bowl, but I don't really know what else to say. Just not good.
Yeah. Not great. Not a great game for BYU. Want to go to Big Ten?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I was shocked, to be honest, about this game. If I was a gambling man, I would have bet everything on Ohio State. So this game was kind of shocking for me. I think I was just really surprised by the lack of offense. I mean, it wasn't really necessarily a lack of offense. I mean, Sand threw for almost 260 yards. Bo Jackson had 83 yards on 17 carries. So it's just they didn't put points on the board. I think that drive they had in the third quarter where they got nothing out of that. Where let me see,
They
they went
went
down
for
70 yards and didn't get any points.
they're fine. Those two drives were 12 yards or 12 plays and 15 plays. No
Exactly, and you
points.
got you got nothing from that. I think that's really just what how you lost the game. I know you shanked the kick at the end, but another thing I wrote down is that Indiana, they were just hanging around this whole game. They took the lead. They were down 10-3, kicked another field goal back in it. And then they capitalized, right? When Ohio State didn't come up with anything on their drives, they took advantage. So you got to really tip your cap. What Kurt Cignetti has done for this program in just 2 seasons has been remarkable. I really don't think even Indiana fans could have imagined what he's done. So tip your hat to Indiana. However, don't get complacent. We saw what happened to Oregon last year.
100%. I'll be short and sweet with this one. Kurt, I'm all in on him. I think he's turned that program around, obviously, just looking at it. But they're legit. Like they're legit. They can legitimately beat an Ohio State team in a close game like that. And I think you saw that. I think when two good teams go together and maybe things aren't flowing, there's some weird plays, there's some weird turnovers, not things that they're accustomed to, but that's going to happen when there's two teams with these talent profiles and then also just overall the coaching staffs. You're going to get a game where it could have been, closer to that total mark, or you're going to get the really severe under where it ended up with this and coming down to a kick. He probably drills that 9 out of 10 times. This was not it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I picked Ohio State. I would have picked Ohio State in this game, but I wasn't necessarily surprised. I guess I was surprised in the fashion that the game played out. But other than that, I wasn't shocked that Indiana could have or would have won this game. Like people saw that line from Vegas and they thought that that was like big. They thought that they were just trying to get people to put money all up on everybody. Like to me, Indiana's a lot better team than people were really giving credit for, and
Yeah.
understandably, I understand. It's kind of the same thing with Vandy this year. Like no one really wanted to respect Vandy just because of their brand or whatever. But Indiana's a legit team. So and I think they showed that physically in this game. That's what I was looking for most. And they stood their ground. To me, Ohio State just kind of played like just kind of lackadays, kind of slow.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
they never tried to take it at any point. They had opportunities and they didn't put the ball in the hands of their playmakers to go and take it. And I thought that ultimately came back and lost them this game. I mean, you put the game in your kicker's hands and you lose it. So I don't really know. Ohio State, it kind of felt like, I mean, it was exactly like the Michigan game last year, the exact same score. But they played the exact same way. They played not to lose. They played to try not lose instead
Hmm.
of going to try and win the game.
Yeah,
Um, and I think if they continue to do that, like Ohio State, you're gonna have the best team on the field for the rest of the season, probably, unless you're. I mean, it's debatable, but in my opinion, I think probably have the most talented team in the country. So you should be going into every game to go and take it from somebody. You shouldn't be trying to just play small or whatever. So again, that came back on him. Ryan Day does that sometimes. I don't know why, but yeah. Again, another disappointing ending for them. And Kurt Signetti, I mean, he's the man. So
I think this could light a fire for them though, because they never were really
yeah,
challenged all year long. You go to a Big Ten championship game, you definitely expect to win as Ohio State.
yeah,
Doesn't go as planned. I think that kind of spirals, but I think it could really get them going on a hot streak.
yeah.
sure.
You're right.
Okay. Final game. Everybody's favorite conference, the ACC, Duke and Virginia. Duke wins 27 to 20. What I wrote down, this is going to be short. I just literally wrote down what a shit show. Did I expect anything different from this conference? No. Uh, Duke 8-5 wins the conference, doesn't get a bid. However, they did get Miami in, but we'll just talk about this game. Um, didn't watch much of the game. I did catch the tail end. Duke did get saved from that choke job, but from what I saw, I don't understand how Duke lost 5 games, right? They looked at least the top three team that I watched this year in the ACC. So how you can have a 5 loss team losing or winning that conference is ridiculous. Luke, I saw that face you just made. I mean, I guess they got handled by Virginia in that first matchup, but I mean, the ACC was not great this year. It's just the bottom
Yeah.
line. Don't have much for the game. Just, I mean, that that interception at the end, not great, but the penalty to get them in another 15 yards at the end there also was
Uh,
not good. So that's all I got.
Luke, you want to go first here?
I can. Yeah. I mean, to me, I I felt like I expected this. This was just bound to happen. Like bound for Duke to win this game, just so chaos could happen. And I think they I know Hunter Yurchek said what he said on the selection show yesterday about how this played no factor in Miami getting in. It 100% did. So Duke winning this game effectively put Miami in the playoff. But um, yeah, I don't know. Virginia to me, they they seem like the better team. They seem better coached. I think Tony Ellitt's a great coach. And in this game, the entire script was just flipped. Like he got out coached. They got outplayed. Chandler Morris didn't look good. I thought he was better. He's been better than Darian Mensah all year. So I don't know. Kind of just exactly what you expect from the ACC, like you said, Nolan. So
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll be short as well. It was a tough watch. But I think it's interesting looking at the ACC, kind of everybody was up and down for one. And obviously Miami and Virginia kind of leading that race just with overall just with the schedule looking the best, I guess you'd say, out of the ACC. But it just kind of shows you like Virginia definitely was their best bet outside of like where Miami has fallen off. I still think the talent is really there with Miami, and I think it'll be really interesting in their game against A&M because I think they both match up talent-wise very similar and very good in talent.
mhm.
But there's something about that Miami team that just hasn't put them over the edge. Um, and to get back to the game, you've got an 8-4 Duke team. I think I was talking to Nolan about this earlier. They're going to play in the Sun Bowl against my team, Arizona State, and you kind of contrast both years. Like that's one team, Arizona State, that was banged up. Guys, most of their main key guys not in, and they're playing in a Sun Bowl. That's kind of what you'd expect with an 8-4 year, where Duke, you win a conference championship in the ACC, you're probably expecting a lot more. So I think it kind of just shows as a whole where the ACC was at this year.
Yeah, I
I
think I
like that,
think there's
Richie.
like a lot of parity in the ACC, just in terms of there's no real like. I mean, Miami is clear in a way the best team in the ACC, but outside of that, it kind of levels off. Like between Boston College all the way to I don't know, I'll say Georgia Tech or something. Like it's a pretty flat line in terms of teams, and I think also they have like 18 teams in their conference. Like they kind of did this themselves. That's why we had this 5 team jam up top, which is why Miami ultimately didn't end up playing in this game. So this is kind of just like a higher up ACC problem in terms of you've let all these teams in. You got teams going coast to coast, and you're dropping these games. So it kind of creates this flat line of conference where you don't really get a dominant team at all, or any more than one dominant team in this case. And Miami didn't even play in your conference championship game, so they gotta figure that out somehow. I don't know how you do it now because you've already made too many decisions that have made it the way it is, but it's got to get fixed if you want to be a competitive conference.
I agree. College football playoffs. Just want to talk about the what we thought of the 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So everybody knows the rankings. We'll talk about them. I will start what I disagree with, and I will start at the very top. I disagree with 2 and 3. I think Georgia should have been 2, and I think Ohio State should have been 3. I'll give a few reasons why I thought about this. Or why I think this. Georgia won their conference, Ohio State lost their conference. So why do we not prioritize these games, right? If somebody goes out there and wins their championship, I don't get how they don't move ahead of the team who does. I get they played the now #1 team, but still, it's not like Georgia was playing anybody terrible. Another reason is Georgia's best win is a better win than Ohio State's. Georgia's best win is #6. Ohio State's best win is um, Texas. I I think that's their best one. I don't know. Uh, Another reason is they
Yeah.
have common opponents, right? Ohio State played Texas. I get it was week 1, beat them by 7. Georgia played Texas, beat them by 25. So I don't like that at the top. Either way, I still like Georgia's draw. I'm happy they're third. And then I'll just talk about it at the end. Um, Alabama at 9 is something I disagree with. I thought they should have dropped to 10. I think if you get boat race like you did in your conference championship, you should drop 1 slot. And also at the end, we're 11 and 12, Tulane and James Madison. The lines for those games are 17.5 and 21.5. So my question is why are we giving out those bids? Like, why are we doing free bids like that? Why do we not just have the 12 best teams? I don't get it. I don't Nobody wants to see Oregon be three three touchdown favorites against James Madison. I'd rather see Notre Dame or Vanderbilt, BYU, any of those teams get in those last 2 slots and play a competitive game. So I like what this year they didn't guarantee a top 4 ranking if you won your conference, but I think that's another step they're going to have to take. I know they might go to 16 teams, but that is
Please
just
no.
something that's not, yeah,
Yeah.
I think they will be, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't like, I didn't like their, I didn't get the reasoning for the Georgia Ohio State one. And I think Alabama should have dropped, and I think 11 and 12 I think it should just be the 12 best teams.
Carter, do you have anything?
Yeah. I definitely see Nolan's point. I think Georgia could have hopped Ohio State. I think kind of the name just kind of kept them there. And I think honestly, the top 8, I think they got it right. Definitely with the top 8. I'm just lost with, I get the group of 5 bid with the automatic conference championship win, but like to add 2 of them, and Nolan mentioned the lines to start, and I think I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure the Oregon James Madison game is like the primetime game too for the
Man,
weekend. And you've got Oklahoma and Miami. I think it was like 10 or 11 a.m. It's starting. Like if you're a
yeah,
TV provider, like what you're pissed. Like
yeah,
you
those
obviously
games. Yeah,
can't control it, but you're like you just lost a substantial amount of money. My thing about the playoff is how I understand BYU also lost both games against Texas Tech, but when you're comparing strength of schedule, and then I forget the second metric that they even sent out a tweet about it, comparing their resume to Notre Dame and Miami. I don't know how you put those two in over BYU and penalize BYU for playing in their conference championship when Miami couldn't even get in a very subpar league for that year. Where I mean, the Big 12 was very respectable this year. You had a bunch of different upsets. I mean, you had Arizona State beat Texas Tech with their backup quarterback. ASU had injuries. It's a lot of it is, it looks like almost a toss up. Like why are they? I know people like why did we have Notre Dame ahead of them the whole entire time and then jump them out? Like what's the point of the Tuesday drops of the 12 teams if it never mattered? So and then if you argue like, okay, then we won't do the Tuesday drops, then you're whatever you think it is, collusion, or you think it could be, scammy in a way, then it's just going to become more of that if you're not going to get the weekly drop.
That was literally going to be my entire thing that I was about to go on an entire rant about. But before I even talk about that, to your point about the TV things, they gave both of the Group of Five games to TNT. Both of them are
Oh,
on TNT. No, the ESPN got the noon and then the Friday night Bama game, and they got the two good
okay.
games. Then they gave Group of Five TNT on 3:30 in prime time. I'd be pissed. Like
Yeah.
I would be so whatever. I actually don't necessarily have a problem with the rankings. I think they got it right. I think I have a problem with the process of the entire thing, and this is what
Yeah.
I disagreed with a lot that came out of South Bend in the past 24 hours, like opting out of a bowl game and all the crap and the crying, all that. I disagree with a lot of it. But the one thing that I can't agree with from their AD uh, was about that Tuesday night show. I mean, it's a joke. The entire thing is a joke. I mean, Hunter Yurachek is I understand that we have a different head of whatever the chairman every year. I understand it, but specifically this year, it was a joke every week. There was no real explanation of what was actually going on. He sat up there and they said, "Oh, well, we had a debate between Alabama and Notre Dame. That was the strongest debate." No, it wasn't. What? How? How was that a
Yeah.
debate? Why? First of all, you made a mistake. Bama should have never been below Notre Dame in the first place. Their resume was miles better than Notre Dame at the time. You just put them below there because of their recent loss to Oklahoma. If that was the case and you were like, well, Oklahoma, or excuse me, Notre Dame was just playing better at the time, then say that. Like, just say that. Just say that's what we're going off of this year. We're going off of who's playing the best football right now. If you flat out say what you're going off of, I think a lot of the controversy will kind of shut itself up because you told us what you're going off of. But every week he comes on and starts talking about other crap that
Yeah.
is seemingly irrelevant the next week. So to me, it's I think I personally say just get rid of it, or if you're not going to get rid of it, actually go on there and show us what is actually being looked at and what's actually being talked about. But they'll never do that. So
Yeah.
to me, I say get rid of it because it does create this all this discourse about if we didn't have the show, no Notre Dame fan would even be able to have this conversation right now about how is Miami in over us. Well, because you lost to them, you weren't ranked above them, and you shouldn't have been ranked above them when they got into your tier or whatever the hell they call it. So head to head has to matter. So stop crying about that. And then stop crying about Alabama because you should have never been above them either. So to me, the entire process of it has to change. And to the 16 team point, I cannot stress enough that it's going to be the same problem. It's
Yeah.
just the number 17 team is gonna be crying about the same things. So if you keep expanding it every single year, it's not gonna do anything. I'm sure people are like, oh, we'll make more money because the college football playoff just makes money. Well, no one wants to see. I just oh, I'm gonna get going here for a long time if I keep going on about that. But stop the expansion. I didn't even want to expand to 12. I thought 4 would have been fine.
Mhm.
Hell, 8 would have been the max that I would have gone to, but whatever. And then the group of 5 point. I mean, I'll play. I don't know. I've tried to play devil's advocate for group of 5. And I don't think we saw the problem with it last year because Boise State deserved to be there. I think that's how it should be. If you're a group of 5 team and you're good enough, you will find your way in there. So I
Exactly.
agree. I don't think this. I think this has to. There's got to be something changed about it. There has to be a cut line at least. Like if you're not inside the top, I don't know what, a 15 in your group of five team, then you're gone. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. That's all I got about that. So
I was just going to add one more quick thing. There's nothing concrete of like what finally makes the decision, and they continually change that. And you could see
yep,
that because you have Vandy and Texas, and no, I don't think they should have got in, but you can 100% make the case that their strength of schedule is not even close to Notre Dame and
yep,
Miami's.
mm-hmm,
And yeah, honestly, I'd take a three-loss Texas, and I can't remember. Does Vandy have two or three losses? They're
Two.
two,
three, right? Oh, two.
two.
Okay. I I think you could generally make the argument to put one of those two teams in over Miami or Notre Dame. But the thing is, they had to course correct with their
Yep,
original rankings from the beginning, and as soon as the ACC turned out the way it did,
yep,
boom, we got to put Miami in because we
yeah.
can't have a Power Four conference not represented, you know, at least with a national brand as well. So,
Spot on. It's literally
Yeah.
spot
Richie, I like that too because now you saw what happened to Texas this year. They went on the road at Ohio State week one. If they didn't play that game, they have a way better chance of getting
oh
in.
yeah,
So
nobody's
I
going to schedule hard games anymore.
exactly,
on.
exactly. So I think if you take that game away from Texas, their best win is Vanderbilt. I mean, they're definitely up there. They're definitely in that conversation. And I'm not saying they weren't in the conversation to begin with, but three losses. I mean, it's just like the magic number, three losses. Guess I know Alabama's in there right now, but it's because they played in the conference
Yeah, you
championship.
play an extra game. It's not. Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying like Texas should have had they should have given Texas more of a chance than what they got. This is part of the problem with the 12. It's because if Texas was in there, if Texas played at Oregon in this playoff, everybody would want to watch that. Everybody
Yeah.
would be into it. If Diego Pavia was the 11th seed, I'm just throwing numbers out here, 11 or 12, whatever. If Diego Pavia was in this playoff, who wouldn't want to watch one of the Heisman finalists go on the road and play Ole Miss? Like
Yeah.
they're just wasting two spots. And to your point, Richie, there's no point of going on the road and scheduling big time out of conference games.
no,
I got one more quick thing on
yeah.
you and want your guys' opinion on this. Where does BYU land? Because I also understand they played Texas Tech twice. They didn't look good against them either times. But how do they get penalized? One for the conference championship, and then how do they completely drop out and you put a group of five team one in over them? And then two, it's just so confusing because then all right, you drop Notre Dame. Okay, then how does BYU leave? You add Miami, wait, how does Miami stay in? It's just like they
I
really are showing that they don't know what they're doing.
no, they have no idea. Hold on, wait. We have like 2 minutes on this, so let me. Should we here? We'll do a new one and then we'll answer. I mean the way that I saw BYU and the way that they treated them, I felt like I don't know what they said about it. I thought it was that they stayed where they were based on the conference championship, but then they just jumped Miami in front of Notre Dame, which naturally caused that pushback, I guess, because they kept Notre Dame in front for whatever reason. I don't know. But I thought that they just kind of sat there and realized like we can't keep sitting behind this. Oh, there's one team in between Notre Dame and Miami at this point. Uh, we have to just honor the head to head. Like we have to. So I think that's what they did. I could be wrong. I never know what's going on with them, but um, to me it was like the other problem with BYU is that I thought their resume was not as impressive in terms of wins outside of Utah, and then they played and Texas Tech is a good team, like they're a great team. But that was their only other good game, and then we see 2 game sample size, and they kind of get blown out of both of them. So I think
Yeah.
that's why it had more of an impact in terms of conference championship shouldn't matter or you shouldn't be able to be punished for it was because they're playing the same team that they played that they already got blown out by and then they got blown out again. So it kind of just reinforced the committee's previous point, I guess, or whatever it is. But either way, I agree. I think that they kind of got screwed in a way. But you can't say they didn't have a chance. I mean, BYU, you had your chance. You just had to win the game.
Completely, completely. And clarifying question here. If James Madden, obviously they won, is it possible to put BYU at the 12 spot, or does it always have to be the group of five bid at the 12 spot?
Group of five.
No, so it has
It does?
no. Well, it just has to be a conference. So they take the five highest ranked conference champions. So
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
that would be. So the group of five. So last year it was Clemson at the 12, and the group of five was inside of the
Mhm.
top four. So it doesn't necessarily always have to be them. I mean, that's how it'll play out most years, typically, because most of the time the group of five will not be inside the top 12. Uh, but no, in this case we have two group of fives because the ACC didn't pull their weight. Um, but yeah, that's a Sun Belt champion and then a Conference USA champion, so or American
All right.
champion.
Well, I mean, what we have next is matchups and lines. We kind of already talked about that. Um,
Yeah,
Texas A&M is 5.5 against Miami, and Alabama's -1.5 against Oklahoma. Some news we can talk about. Matt Campbell to Penn State. Don't know a lot about him, but from what I've heard and what I've seen on social media, it seems like they got a good guy. Seems like he's obviously going to have tough with high school recruits this year. They only signed two
yep.
kids, which is pretty brutal. So he's gonna have to use the portal big time. He'll obviously bring some guys with him from Iowa State. So for how late it was, it seemed really like a good hire. See, they kind of missed earlier on some guys. So with how late it was, and I mean they fired James Franklin October, 2 months later,
2 months ago.
they you finally got somebody. So hats off to them, and it's a great opportunity for Matt Campbell. Me and Richie were obviously in College Station, or yeah, College or Happy Valley,
College Town.
uh, College Town. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're there this year, and that place is sick. So good for him. I hope he does well.
Yeah, the reason here, I'll explain why I put this in here because I last week got on a rant about how bad of a firing that was of James Franklin and how they have swung and missed and how they're doing a horrible job at Penn State right now. And they were, and they lucked into, to me, the best case possible. I mean, I think Matt Campbell is a great candidate, and I thought that they got a great hire there. So they got pretty damn lucky, in my opinion. But that's a great hire for especially based on because you obviously you weren't going to get Kiffin or anything, but I mean, dude, I was up here and I was ripping them deservingly so, and then they lucked out and got a great hire there. So hats off, Pat Kraft. No, actually, no, not to you, Pat Kraft. Hats off to Penn State.
So first off, I totally agree that the James Franklin hire was awful. I mean, the firing was awful. Just way too early. Like the guys completely turn around you as a national brand again. Was getting the top level talent, and yeah, he lost some. He lost some big games. Yeah, yeah, and he's never really won that big game, and I understand that. But then you never went after the top coaching targets right when they opened up. And no, I don't think they would have been able to get them, but they were over on all their top targets. Now, I think they got the best guy for the job. I really do. He made Iowa State into something. They're
Yep,
legitimately always good. And even when they're not at the top, they still grind out wins. They'll find a way to be 8-4,
yep.
9-3, maybe not making the playoff, but they're always consistently good. They have a clear identity, play football the right way. I I think it'll be interesting how he does with recruiting. Obviously, Penn State has the name, but you know, it's not he's not flashy. Like he's not the
He's
flashy
not.
type of coach that's gonna, have some swagger to him. He's a
Yeah,
football coach, like he really
yeah.
is. And I think that's actually really good for Penn State. I think it's gonna be quicker than people think they're gonna be good. Good again.
I agree.
You're 100%. He I think you made a good point about the recruiting because you're right. He's a football guy. He's not a go to the guy's house and jump in the swimming pool and make a whole TikTok video with guys
Yeah.
to get him to
Yeah.
come
Well,
play. So I think he'll do well. I agree.
All right. Next news before we get into the only game this weekend. Notre Dame opted out of the bowl game. I'll just give a quick few thoughts on this. I don't like it. I think it is going to create something for college football that may not be in the best interest for everybody else. I think that I get he got the captains together, he got everybody together, and they said no. But I was honestly expecting different out of Marcus Freeman. I thought that he would want to go prove a point, right, and just go show that they were a top team. And I can kind of understand the frustration that he has. Obviously, you you wanted to be there, you lost by 4 points combined to in your first two games, and you didn't make it. But still, I don't think opting out is the solution, and I don't think it's good for college football, quite frankly.
Yeah, again, I put this in here because I wanted to see if anyone would take their side or kind of see where they're coming from. I personally, I mean, it's obviously soft, but to me, it kind of this goes back to the whole thing that we were just talking about, with the entire process of the college football playoff. Notre Dame act like they were owed something, that they deserved that spot, like they were owed a spot in the college football playoff. That's how they're acting. And I don't necessarily blame them for thinking that because all 4 weeks that we've had this stupid show, if you can even call it that, they've been right up in there up until the
Yeah.
last at the 11th hour they get taken out. So that's why they believe or they thought they were owed a spot. I mean, if you never have that show, I think they're playing in a bowl game right now because they're not all up in their feels about, oh
Right.
well, we were in it. Why are we just now taken out of it? This is a disgrace. Blah 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 blah. Blah. It's a conspiracy or whatever. It's not. You lost head to head to a team that was also a bubble team, so they got the nod. It's not that hard to
Yeah,
understand,
yeah,
but
it's not right. That's what I don't get. You played the team and you lost. It's
yeah,
not like you're comparing different stats. You played the team. You play ACC teams because you're not in a conference, right? You played them and you lost. So
yep,
I
yep,
just I
yep,
don't get the frustration out of them.
yep. And then their argument of like, well, Bama shouldn't be, and they just got well. You shouldn't have ever been in front of Bama. Like that shouldn't have been a thing. I can't express that enough. Like this is just again, whatever. I'm done talking about
Um, so here's what I'll say. I agree with you guys 100%, but I think it's interesting to look at it. I think this is Notre Dame just kind of being Notre Dame. Like they chose not to be in the bowl. They're not choosing to be in a conference. Like, and now it's going to put the pressure on them. Like, do they want to join a conference now? I don't.
no.
I would
They're
love to see them do it. I really would,
they're too
but
stubborn.
I don't think they will. And I think the stubbornness, like you said, shows with them opting out of the bowl game.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting for sure.
You're 100% right. This is definitely a Notre Dame thing to do. It just they have like this moral superiority that they feel like they're better. They're the brand of college football. I sent you that tweet earlier
Yeah,
today. No,
that's
that was the
ridiculous.
funniest thing I've ever read in my life. But no, yeah, they're too stubborn to join a conference. And to your point, they're too stubborn to play in the Pop Tart Bowl or whatever they'd be in. So
I think that that's a good word because you saw what Notre Dame did a few years ago during COVID, where they were forced to go to a conference and they went into the ACC that one year and played in the ACC and made the college football playoff. And then immediately after that year's over, they're like, I'm done. And then they just left, right? So I just don't get them. I don't get why you want to be in a conference. It just makes no sense to me, and I don't get why you're so cocky. When I think of brands in college football, respectfully, I don't think of Notre Dame. I mean they're definitely one of the top programs. Don't get me wrong, but I mean I don't see them as like the brand, like the way their Twitter is marking them out to be, and the people on their fan base. So I don't know.
oh yeah, I don't know. I think I again, it's because they just want to pick and choose who they can who they can schedule. They don't have to abide to anybody. They pick a bottom feeder of the SEC. They pick Arkansas and they say, "Oh, we played an SEC team." And then they go and pick some trash teams in the ACC and say, "Oh, well, we have a great relationship with the ACC, so we're gonna go play their teams." And then they'll pick their couple good games that they'll play a year, and then you lose both of them, and then you're all up in arms about why you're not in the
Exactly.
playoff.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever.
All right. Let's go into Army and Navy. Um, the only game this weekend, right? It's a great rivalry.
The greatest
Um,
game.
exactly. There you go, Richie. Richie, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll be short on this one. I think Navy wins, but I will be picking Army. Sister played soccer at Army West Point. Been there. Beautiful place, really
Nice.
cool campus, very prestigious. Yeah, Army's gonna get that upset.
Love the pick. I I'm gonna go against you though. I'm gonna pick Navy here. But this game is always fun. If this game goes anywhere, I don't. If it gets anywhere over the total, I'll do something. I don't know. This game never
38 and a
goes over.
half.
It's always under. You.
Yeah.
That's my pick actually. Under. That's my pick.
Hey, under's
I
your
think
pick.
that's a great. Just about to check. What do we think the weather's going to be? Baltimore, Maryland, and
Mm.
that's on the
Saturday.
13th Saturday. So let's see.
Oof.
Keep going. No, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Actually, I'm curious. This answer will help my prediction.
All
We're
right.
not throwing the ball, so
Saturday we got a high of okay, so it doesn't look like bad weather. High of 40, low of 28, overcast.
All right.
So
And in that case, Navy wins.
yeah, yeah.
All
Army
right.
needs some help here.
Last piece we're going to talk about tonight is who should win the Heisman. That's what I wrote down. And as of tonight, the four finalists were announced: Fernando Mendoza, Diego Pavia, Jeremiah Love, and Julian Sand. If you guys looked at the betting lines, which
I'm
I
not.
just stumbled upon during scrolling through Twitter, Fernando Mendoza is by far the favorite. It's really not even close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess this isn't really I mean, with how we do know who's going to win, with how because Vegas always knows, and the line's ridiculous. However, I do think I'll say this: I think the best player in college football is Jeremiah Love. I don't think he's going to win the award, but I do think he's the best player. Obviously, I think Mendoza is going to win the award. And also the kid from Texas Tech, Rodriguez. He kind of you never even heard Richie. I know you like him. You never even I feel like you never heard about him. And this,
You
if you
never
look at
even
that,
considered him.
I know you look at that
Like
kid's
legitimately didn't
stats.
even
Yeah,
consider him.
he was he was amazing. So I think Mendoza's going to win. I mean, I think everybody here probably thinks Mendoza's going to win. So
I'm seeing Mendoza plus 125, saying
that's
plus
definitely not right,
135.
Richie. Let's
Really?
look. Yeah,
I think
That's why
I think well didn't who won?
it's
Oh,
Fernando Mendoza minus 2,500.
didn't he win it
let's see where
like
this is
3 weeks
from.
ago? No.
Yeah, he won it against Penn State.
He won the award 3 weeks ago. They announced it. So
Richie,
it's
I think they
already over.
updated it because when they
Yeah, I
announced the
think this is
four.
a yeah, you're right. You're right.
So Mendoza is cleared favor with Pavia in second.
Oh yeah, for real. I think he won it in the post game conference, honestly. But
Yeah.
I think I think it's
This is opening.
I think it's an underwhelming race to say the least this year. But I mean, it's not that any of these guys have played bad. It's all just been kind of it's nothing like last year, I guess. Uh, but I think Mendoza definitely deserves it at this point. To me, I didn't feel like I thought someone made a point about it. And he got a ton of no, it's Desmond Howard. He made a point. He said Jordan say it's not even the best player on his team for giving him the Heisman, and I thought he made a good point there. He got a lot of slander for that, but
Yeah, I'm pissed. Gunner's not in that spot. I know Gunner would have never have won. But Gunner is the most valuable piece to that Georgia team, easily. So obviously you can say it's bias, but still, I was
Whose
upset.
spot do you think he takes?
Sands.
Okay,
I don't
what if they put him out for Pavi? You think that's fair?
What do you, Gunner?
Hmm.
No,
I
no,
don't think he has the
Pavia.
stats. That's my
No, but
problem with
it's not
Gunner.
but it's more than just stats, dude. Like
Yeah.
I
I
understand. Like,
understand.
go ahead.
No,
Uh,
I understand that. I understand that aspect. I just think like it's
I know, but if you really watch the way that kid played for Georgia and the way how many hits he took, like he was definitely the best player besides for Zachariah Branch on the offense this year for Georgia. So I guess I guess the only point I disagree with is saying in it. The rest is fine, obviously, and Mendoza's gonna win. Richie, what do you got?
Yeah, no, Mendoza's gonna win. I think he won the close game, won the big games, obviously. Blew people out, made plays when he didn't play very well the games. I think he's kind of been the clear winner here for a while. Pavia would be cool, but I don't just as a flashy thing, but no, it's not. It's gonna be Mendoza.
Yeah, it would be cool.
I think he would have won it. I honestly think he would have won it if Indiana would have lost. I think he would have won it over Sam, but that's just me.
Hey, you're probably right. I like that take.
So
All right. Well,
yeah, that's it.
that was a great episode. Richie, man, thank you
Yeah, shout
for
out.
joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thanks for having me, guys. This
And
was fun.
yeah,
Our pleasure.
great times. We will see you next week on the show. See ya.
See ya.